All right, on air.
Hello everyone, this is Joe Lucier with the Tong Ren community, and we have the great pleasure of interviewing with Ken Hadden, the new president of the OCI Healing Research Foundation, as well as a long-term Tong Ren practitioner, a survivor of many challenges, physical challenges, and definitely a winner. He does Tong Ren training, he does yoga instruction, he's a nutritionist. He has a lot of experience with plant-based nutrition, Michio Kushi, the macrobiotic institutes throughout the world as well, and he's going to tell you all about that. But what I want to do right now is get him to say hi and open it up actually for questions as well. We have several questions already, and it's very important for everybody there that's listening to post your questions and at least tell me you're here and say hi, and ask questions from Mr. Ken Hadden, and here he is. Hello, Ken.
Hi there, Joe. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. So what we'd like to know first is, tell us first your journey to Tong Ren. How did you find Tong Ren? Why is it that you actually teach and practice Tong Ren?
Well, I came into Tong Ren in 2007, March of 2007, so about 8 years ago. I was hospitalized for gallstones in March of 2007, and they wanted to do surgery, and I said, no, I don't think so. I'm going to figure this out, and I went home and Googled gallstones. So I was teaching yoga at an aid service organization in Lynn, Massachusetts, and I went to work in this. Oops, sorry, I have my email open. I'm going to shut that down so you don't hear those little noises. So I was teaching yoga in this ASO, aid service organization, and Charlie Smigulski was working there as a nutritionist, and I came in this day to work teaching yoga to the clients. And he offered me Tong Ren. I never heard it before. He said, would you like some Tong Ren? I went, Tong what? So he worked on me with the acupuncture model and the hammer. And being very sensitive, he started working on the gallbladder points. And I literally could feel a rumbling inside my body. And the theory being with Tong Ren that it breaks up blockages. Anyways, I was passing gallstones after about 15 minutes of Charlie working on me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it continued for a few days afterwards. It was a process, but it was definitely Tong Ren that initiated the healing response. So I was very open to it, and I was fascinated by the effects. So I eventually started studying it, and I became a Tong Ren aficionado very, very quickly.
A lot of your Tong Ren practice is dealing with emotions. So I know you put together different types of trainings. I know you teach the yoga and you teach the Tong Ren, and in a lot of ways you deal with people with emotional challenges. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, I worked in a day psychiatric program in Ware, Massachusetts. It was about a few years ago. A friend of mine was the director, and he hired me to do Tong Ren at this facility just once a month on a Friday, and I would do 2 sessions in the morning and the afternoon. So I was there for about 5 hours. And this place got people with severe mental health issues, all kinds of issues, heavily medicated people. So about 20-25 people would attend these sessions, and so it was quite an educational process to work with a challenged group like that. I learned quickly not to say any of the points because it made them very confused. When I would call up bladder 10, they were like, "Oh, what?" So I didn't say any points. I would think them. I knew what I was doing, but I would not say anything about points. I would just generally say where I was tapping on the body, and it had quite a profound effect on them. I did it for over a year. And these people were very, their brain waves were very, what's the word, very high, very like lot of thinking, a lot of mental activity. So this is one of the first times a lot of these people ever went into a meditative space. So it was a way to bring people into their body and calm their thoughts. And I would do it twice a day, once in the afternoon. There was an art project after the Tong Ren, so we would transition to an art project every afternoon, and the art was quite changed. The instructors said people who normally didn't draw would draw, and people who just drew the same thing started drawing different things. Anyways, it had quite an effect, a very positive effect on this population. So that's the basis of my class here in Northampton. I deal with a lot of anxiety and depression. It seems to be, unfortunately, very common with most people that I attract.
Well, in terms of emotions and stuff like that, and a core question that a lot of people ask is, how is it that Tong Ren is affecting these people? Why is it actually working, and what is it actually doing? I mean, what is your theory of Tong Ren, which is basically a practice where people are not in physical contact, they're using their mind, and like you say, you didn't even say the points. So in a lot of ways, it's just your mind. So
yeah.
What do you think is happening at that point in time? Because everybody has a different idea, and some people are really confused.
Yeah, well, for the way I do it, and everyone has their own personality and kind of way they do Tong Ren, depending on their experience. Like I'm into yoga, so I'm in touch with anatomy, physiology. I know a fair amount of it. So my process of Tong Ren, I believe, is so helpful with emotions, is that I take them through the body very slowly, tapping on the points. And there are certain points that we know that's supposed to help mental health issues, like C2 for emotions, and amygdala and hippocampus for some of the brain points. But the way I do Tong Ren, and the way that I think in general it works, is it slows people down. It brings their brain waves down to a more relaxed place pretty quickly, right into alpha state, really quickly. And for me, I do Tong Ren to really ground people. I bring energy through the body, out of the feet, and I really focus on bringing the energy that might be trapped in the head down into the body, slowing down the thoughts pretty quickly, And if people keep doing it, it really accumulates. I think it really builds upon itself.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, because I know it's with patients, frequency and creates really good momentum, and then it seems to build up really well. And I think that's a good point for people to understand, because I know when people are having a real serious crisis, the frequency seems to really turn the tide of illness. What do you think?
Yeah, the more you do it, the more obviously benefits you're going to get from it. And Tong Ren it's about moving energy through the body, through the meridians. And my theory is, with some of the experience working in this clinic, people are heavily medicated, and the Tong Ren seems to bring out and clear the brain of the brain fog, and increase clarity and slow down the thoughts pretty dramatically. But people are always thinking. Tong Ren can be really profound.
Yeah, it's quite profound. I mean, considering that there's something between you and the patient, and they're getting a treatment, and they're getting energy from your thoughts.
Yeah, from our thoughts, and it builds upon itself through the collective, through these energy fields that we tap into, And as I say to most people, in the West, we're chi deficient. We're severely chi deficient. Unless you have a spiritual practice, you have a yoga practice, a qigong, or meditative practice. It's we're just really don't have that concept of a spiritual practice to enhance and move our chi. So this is why it can have such a profound effect on a lot of people, like immediately, because it moves the chi. We can take that for granted at least, And a lot of people have a lot of very stuck energy. I think depression is like really stuck chi in a simple sentence. So it can really just move the blocked energy out of the body and clear the energy field around us. Right?
That's absolutely right. In terms of your own personal story, along with the gallbladder, the gallstones and stuff, do you have any other personal
Yeah.
things that you'd like to discuss or cases? Either
Well, I would for my little testimonial. I've written. I have my testimonial in the Tong Ren book that we give out in the classes.
Okay.
Basically, my HIV story. I'll back up. My HIV story. I've had HIV/AIDS since 2000, so about 15 years now, and I didn't take the pills for quite a while because I just didn't want to take them. I did a lot of holistic things. Anyways, the holistic things didn't really work. I did Tibetan medicine, naturopathic medicine, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I got sicker and sicker. So I eventually took the pills, and I healed pretty quickly. Well, came into balance pretty quickly with the medication. The medication had a lot of very intense side effects. So I was always trying to, what's the word? Do a more natural approach. So 2007, I was taking the pills during this gallbladder experience. I went off the medication because the medication seemed to not work very well. Sometimes you get the virus can mutate and the medication doesn't work. Anyway, so I went off medication, and for about 8 months I had no medication. I had blood work done after about 8 months, and it showed that my HIV, the viral load, they measure a certain amount of the blood to see how many copies of the virus that it reduced in half after 8 months, and my T cells stayed the same. So basically, my immune system was stabilized, and that's not supposed to happen without medication and in the Western mind. So I was very, I knew something good was going on. I could sense that. I thought I was a very happy-go-lucky, pretty meditative guy, and after going to Tong Ren to many classes all over Eastern Mass, I was really astounded how my well-being was enhanced and my sense of wellness was really enhanced because I have an addictive personality, so I became a Tong Ren, I say junkie. I would just go to all the classes all over Eastern Mass and up in Haverhill and Swampscott. They had a class there for quite a while, and Quincy. So I immediately decided to study and to take the training. I did that in 2007 in July with Tom.
So another area that you're working for spreading Tong Ren is with the foundation, so I will call you
Yes.
from now on Mr. President.
Yes, okay.
So congratulations, you are now the president of OCI Healing Research Foundation.
Yes.
Can you tell our viewers, a lot of people may not even be familiar of its existence, of exactly what it's for and what's your vision?
Okay, well, the Oriental Culture Institute Healing Research Foundation was put together to spread Tong Ren through education and to find research to validate Tong Ren. So the board has been going on for about 10 years now, and I became the president this past, when was it? September. I was the secretary for 3 years prior to that. I took the notes at all the meetings. And we get together 4 times a year to get together to look for ways to spread Tong Ren. Like this past November, we had a table at the Natural Health Expo in Marlborough, Mass. There are thousands of people at this event, and did a lot of outreach to the general public. And being president, I just actually, I didn't tell you this, Joe, but I just made a proposal to speak at the a conference in August, the first weekend of August, 4th to 6th, at Tufts Medical School. It's integrative medicine for the underserved. They're doing a conference, and I wrote a proposal to present Tong Ren at this conference in August. I'll know in the end of April if that's going to come together. But stuff like this we do with the board does is to spread through conferences, through different venues to get Tong Ren to the public, to the mainstream. And so we are looking for research, and you and I spoke just before this webinar, this interview, about starting an initiative to gather information from people who have used Tong Ren for their wellness, for their enhancement of their health. We're going to start gathering information from people with medical records to make some type of database for research. Start compilating this information. So this is just starting, and we'll, probably in Quincy at least, asking people to get involved in some way.
I think that's the key. I think we all know from personal experience, and that we have so many cases to talk about, but we don't have a lot of real hard data. We have a couple of research things.
Right.
But by the way, anybody out there watching the interview right now, if you don't see us, just refresh your screen. Everything is working fine. But that's just a quick reminder for everyone. And don't forget to type in your questions so we can get to everybody's questions. We have some questions so far. But getting back to that topic, I think in terms of the foundation, do you think one of the main goals of the foundation is kind of to be the bridge between our Tong Ren community and, say, allopathic medicine and mainstream medicine?
Yes, that's definitely part of it, is to look for ways to get involved with. Well, I just say that we have done several things when it's been under the umbrella of integrative medicine. So we follow under the what do you call it? The umbrella of integrative medicine. So we're doing what we can to bridge ourselves and bring Tong Ren to doctors and nurses that are at least open to the possibility of energy healing. So yeah, we're kind of in between. We're looking for ways to I wouldn't say infiltrate, but get involved with Western medicine. Like I'm going to mention the Mass General Institute thing. Yeah, I've been talking with the registrar and the assistant to the dean of the Mass General Hospital Institute, which is a teaching institute. They train nurse practitioners, and through my friend who's the assistant to the dean, we're just in the beginning stages of possibly bring Tong Ren as an adjunct, as a module, part of their division called Mind, Body, Spirit, just like a part of their training. They talk about Reiki and other kind of modalities other than Western medicine. So Tong Ren may be part of their education. So that's very exciting, and we're it's just in the beginning processes of discussing this. So this is a good example of what the institute, the Oriental Culture Institute is doing to legitimized Tong Ren, you know.
I think a lot of it too is, as you know from experience, the doctors understand data, but the doctors really understand anatomy and physiology, and people like yourself with a background in anatomy and physiology and success stories were not really a mystery anymore to them. I mean, we work on very specific things. I think that's going to help.
Yes, definitely. It's because part of it's grounded in anatomy physiology, as you said. They certainly understand that and study that a lot more than they do nutrition, at least. You know.
Yeah, so in terms of nutrition, I know you also have a background in nutrition, and through your journeys, you've studied
Yes.
States and Europe, and tell everybody about that, because I think it's good
Hold
for
on.
them to know. And I'll be, yeah, in terms of the raw foods.
Yeah. Well, I started macrobiotics back in the middle 80s, 84, 85. I had a bunch of health issues. I had acne and had diarrhea constantly. Anyways, long story short, I started macrobiotics when I was in my early 20s, and I had these health issues I had went away pretty quickly. The first thing I realized is that I was allergic to dairy. I didn't know that, so I haven't had a glass of milk in over 30 years. So that was the first thing I gave up, and the acne went away immediately. So that was very exciting. So I was fascinated by food, so I started studying macrobiotics. They have 3 levels of certification, and they have several courses in each level: Order of the Universe, Yin Yang Theory, Shiatsu, cooking, and yeah. So there's four courses. So it's like 10 classes in each level. So I did the first 2 levels here in Brookline and Beckett. Beckett, they have a school, the Christian Institute of Beckett, Mass, which is near where I live here in Northampton. And I did level 3 in Switzerland. There was a 6-week course, level 3, and there was very wonderful time in the Berner Oberlands. We were at 7,000 feet up in the mountains. It was a very wonderful time, and it was the macrobiotics got a European flair to it, which was really exciting for me because the macrobiotics I learned was very Japanese oriented.
Okay.
It's nice to have kind of a European, a spin to it. They use herbs and use things from their different cultures, like the Italian macrobiotics. It's fantastic. Italian seaweed, oh my goodness, delicious. A lot of garlic and olive oil. So yeah, and then when I got sick with AIDS, I played around with the raw foods diet as a way to cleanse and to heal. And I studied in Puerto Rico at the Ann Wigmore Health Institute, and they have a course, a 2-week course, and it's a lot of raw foods and a lot of wheatgrass, and they have colonics there. So it's a healing place. A lot of people go there to heal, and I went there several times after the training. It's a beautiful spot down in Aguada, Puerto Rico. Beautiful place. So my diet now is like macro, raw. It's kind of both. It works for me, I'm in a fermentation phase. Well, I don't know if it's a phase anymore. I think it's forever now. But I do kombucha. I make kombucha tea.
Okay.
And kimchi, and I'm into fermented food. I have kefir. I buy the kefir. I don't make the kefir yet, but maybe that's coming up next. Yeah, I believe that for maintaining your wellness, it's really, really crucial these days to get more healthy bacteria into our bodies, and I think fermentation is a way to do that. So that's my latest kind of progressions with food.
So kombucha tea, and of course, and Wigmore Institute, you made your own sauerkrauts and things like that, right?
Sauerkraut, yep, yep, and Rejuvelac. You know Rejuvelac?
Rejuvenac. Tell everybody what Rejuvenac is. That'd be
Oh,
great.
I love Rejuvelac. It's poor man's beer. Poor man's beer is very cheap to make it. So you sprout wheat berries. Hard winter wheat. Oh, sorry. Oh, no.
You're a busy person.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have to. I'm on. I have to go. Have to go. Have to go. All right. I'm sorry. That was a Skype. Oh, where was I?
What is Rejuvenac and why is it so
Oh,
good?
yeah, Rejuvelac. So you sprout um, wheat berries, hard winter wheat, and you add water to it, and you allow it to ferment in room temperature air. In Puerto Rico, it was very warm there in the 80s, so Rejuvelac would happen very quickly within 3-4 days. But in a regular house, it would take a week or so. And it's fermented wheat berries, basically, filled with a lot of very helpful bacteria. They're really good to increase your intestinal gut bacteria. Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, it's very helpful. It's part of their healing modalities. Rejuvelac, every day, every day. So kombucha is it's a little different than that, but anything that you can do for internal bacteria is very, very important these days, especially with all these super bugs around, all these mysterious bacteria.
So
So
they say that 70% of our immune system is in our gut. So
yeah,
it's pretty important.
very, very important. Very, very important. Yeah, so there you go.
So in terms of the other things that you do, it's interesting. I think what people might want to know about is if you get to the core thing, the core issues, what is disease and why is it that foods are beneficial or yoga is beneficial, Tong Ren is beneficial,
Yeah.
all these different things, they sort of come at different angles. But in your experience, since you have
My
so many,
experience, I've seen people who have come to Tong Ren have really dramatic positive results pretty quickly. As I said before, we're qi deficient, so once you start getting qi and start moving the blockages and stagnation, you really can have a turnaround and a lot of clarity and insight can happen. But often, if you don't make more changes with diet and mindful practices, your illness may come back. So Tong Ren can really, I look at it as a foundation for health, building up your qi, moving the blockages. And then the other things that are important to maintain your health is diet and mindful practices, meditation, yoga. Yoga's often called meditation in motion. You're
Mhm.
very mindful with your movements. You're very in touch with your breath, and so it's like a package. A lot of the macrobiotic education is about lifestyle changes. So we don't in Tong Ren we move energy and we increase our chi levels. Um, but I think for overall wellness and for the future is really diet and spiritual practices, mindfulness. Mindfulness is to me is just being very present in everything you do. Like one of the things that macrobiotics espouses is chewing your food really well, and that's just doing that one thing can really change your wellness. Amazing. Just sit down and have a really mindful meal. Take your time. Well, that seems like very difficult in our day and age to imagine, but if you're gonna really maintain your wellness, you're gonna slow down.
So in a lot of ways, in terms of complete healing, Tong Ren is definitely very powerful, very helpful to get people through a crisis. And as you know, we even have patients with stage 4 cancers that are long-time survivors. And then you're saying that long-term, to make sure that the original causes or the long-term benefits of Tong Ren are established through spirituality, mindfulness, exercise, and things like plant-based nutrition or alkalizing foods and things like that, as
Yeah.
well as fermented foods, the healing foods, the Ann Wigmore healing foods that you speak of. Does that sum it up pretty good?
Yeah, that's it. A lot. We could go into what I learned through the raw foods education, that on a physical level, all illness is toxemia and deficiency. So we're unfortunately, walking around with a lot of toxins in our body from our diet and from our environment and things. So, and a lot of us are deficient in minerals and vitamins because our soil is not as healthy as it used to be. So, for wellness to really take root and be, into longevity, diet is crucial. And most illness, also in terms of the raw foods movement, develops and lives in an acid environment. Acid pH in our bloodstream. So the raw foods, plant-based foods, not a lot of them are alkalizing. So it's good to have more of a alkalizing diet, which is more natural whole foods.
I would say that, and one of the great benefits of the macrobiotics is, of course, sea vegetables, which are
Oh yes.
so, the most alkalizing foods. Would you say?
Yeah, I've been taking sea vegetables for 30 years. I have them. They're really good in beans. I make hummus every week. Pressure cook my chickpeas and with wakame or kombu, and it helps digest the beans even more. And it's good to get those minerals because a lot of our plant food, unfortunately, doesn't have minerals anymore, or it's very low to begin with. Yeah, sea vegetables are one of my. Everybody looks for like one or two things, like, oh, so Ken, why are you so healthy? Is it the seaweed? Is it the brown rice? Is it the Tong Ren? Is it the yoga? It's like, it's all of it. It's everything. Like sea vegetables, you're into raw foods. I think they're crucial. That might be a stretch for people to hear that, but sea vegetables are really the best way to get minerals, especially like iodine for the thyroid.
Yeah, those types of foods are critical, and I think for a healing crisis, including people going through chemo and stuff, they're very supportive and very efficient and very healing.
Yeah, yes, because I think my take on Tong Ren is the foundation. It enhances your chi, moves blockages, and really can help your energy levels dramatically. So you get energy and you start feeling better, and then it's time to make some changes in one's life. Also, the people you hang out with, you need to talk to people who will support your Tong Ren. You go home and tell your friends you're doing this, voodoo with dolls and hammers, and they keep, making fun of you. Maybe you don't tell your friends what you're doing, and you find more people to support your changes, in becoming well.
That's great. So the other questions we have are, what if you had maybe one or two, maybe even dramatic or inspiring case studies?
Yeah.
Maybe you could share with us. That would be great.
Okay. Okay. I did Tong Ren at the Boston Living Center, which is an AIDS service organization in Boston. It's one of the largest in this country. They have several thousand members. And I was hired back in 2009 to do Tong Ren to the members, the clients of this AIDS service organization. And I was a peer leader because I have HIV, and I would do Tong Ren, and I did it at first once a week, and then I was hired to do it 3 times a week because it was very well received. And so I know several people came to me after about a year of doing Tong Ren that they were getting really good blood work back. And this one person that I remember specifically, had the same amount of T cells for years. He would get blood work done every 6 months or so. So he would say he had always had like 600 T cells for years. He said, Ken, I went to my doctor and got my blood work, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after about 8 months of doing Tong Ren, his T cells doubled. He said the only thing that I have done differently is Tong Ren, and I got that kind of information from several people. But one of the things that happens often when people have AIDS, addiction is part of the illness, unfortunately. And so I also discovered that Tong Ren helped with people's addictions, help lessen cravings, and allow people to have cleaner periods of sobriety. It really helped them a lot, a lot.
That's a massive thing, because depression and lifetime medication is so sad to see. But to see hope with depression, for people to get their lives back and things like that, that must be very rewarding.
It is, and and some people, were able to get off some, psych meds, which are very, very difficult to get off. It's one of the sad things about the pharmaceutical industry and depression is that, once you're on the pills, it's really, really difficult to get off them. So Tong Ren can help that process, if one chooses to go off psych meds.
We have a question from our audience, and it says, what's the best way to tell if Tong Ren is working? Should we get new blood work every few months? Is there a way to monitor progress? What is your suggestion?
Yes. I would say, I think most people out there who've been doing Tong Ren know from their experience that it works and it helps with so many issues. But so your sense of clarity, your sense of wellness, it probably goes up if you continue to do Tong Ren. But if you have a serious illness and you're doing Tong Ren, cancer or HIV or so many illnesses out there, it's really good to obviously to get blood work done and if you're serious about Tong Ren, you do it on a regular basis to see maybe after 6 months of doing Tong Ren if there's any differences in blood work in labs. I would imagine that there would be with PSAs, the markers for cancer. I mean, we know all the anecdotal information that we get that it works, and people are getting better and better blood work.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. I think we that's one of the things we watch, like in the group healing classes. We get cancer marker tests. I mean, cancer markers are, at least the trend of cancer markers can be very helpful.
Yeah.
To see the change in the cancer markers. Cancer markers are indicative of cancer itself, as well as, like you say, the PSA, which is directly related to prostate cancer or prostate issues.
Yeah.
And those things, even like diabetes, they have markers that they can watch go up and down, and that's actually a good thing to monitor for people, to keep a log. And I think that's one of the things that with the foundation as well, that they're going to start to get people to more
right
track and actually use real medical testing to see how these things are going. But I know some people, and I would like to get your opinion, they do blood work on a regular basis. They don't do scans on a regular basis, but they do blood work on a regular basis.
Yeah. So, it'd be good if the people out there, if they could start, paying attention to their blood work, and through Joe, get in touch with him if you have some solid kind of information that shows that you're getting better through Tong Ren, to let us know so we can, record it and maybe start making starting some solid research. That'd be really helpful.
So a tough question, a little harder question is,
yeah.
if someone is not doing any testing,
yeah.
There's no blood work, no scans, no chemo, or any of that stuff.
Right.
What would be, in your experience, what would be a good way to gauge their progress?
Well, I one of the surprises for me when I did Tong Ren is how well I felt. My mental wellness levels went up dramatically. And I always thought, I said earlier that I was a pretty happy guy, and I realized maybe I wasn't so happy. And so even killed because my levels of wellness really amplified a lot. So I would say that's almost always a common part of people's reports back that they're how do you feel? How's your mental wellness? How's your sense of clarity? Tong Ren brings energy through the body. It comes out of kidney one, out of the feet. You know how do you feel? How is your when I do classes, private sessions or in class, one of my things that I say is in the beginning of class, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being in bliss and 10 and being in agony, what is your discomfort level now? And then after the session, I would say, well, what is it now? And guess what? Nobody's ever gotten worse in all the hundreds of classes I've done. Nobody said, oh, I'm feeling terrible. The marker always stays the same or goes down, sometimes dramatically. So that's obviously one of the ways. And to hear the good news and information in classes, like this person, like their blood work's getting better, and it's very helpful to hang around people that are doing well, and encouraging your healing path, supporting your healing path.
I think that's a great recommendation because it also gives people hope, because a lot of times people, when they start with Tong Ren, because it's so unusual, they are very curious, but they're also very skeptical. And but giving them even something simple like how's your pain now,
right?
And how's your pain now? It's 5. Well, that looks good, and or what was your cancer marker? That's an improvement. And I think what you said a moment ago is actually probably another great way to do it. For example, if someone comes into your class and they have stage 4 cancer, and they've been told possibly that they only have a few weeks or months to live, but then they speak to somebody who was given that same message maybe 5 or even 10 years ago.
Right.
That's very inspiring, and I think that changes the physiology of the body as well. What do you think?
Oh, yes. So one of the things that happens in the anti-cancer classes that I have witnessed and I've also heard people say is that, especially with cancer, when you get a room filled, a class filled with people with cancer, the fear level is really very strong. It's very palpable. Fear. Cancer, shortens your life. You're going to die. Blah blah blah. So fear is really high in anti-cancer classes. So when people start hearing good news, like this person over here, oh, wow, they got the same diagnosis I had, and now they're doing better. You start hearing, little stories of progress. That's very encouraging, and the fear levels go down. And if you can really get through your fear, the other side is, hope and wellness, So it's really important with the serious illness to increase your levels of, joy. Going to Tong Ren classes, it's very, very, very helpful to bring your spirits up.
Yeah, I think that's very inspiring and very helpful. I mean, I think it's a very different environment than, say, an allopathic oncologist visit in a lot of ways. I know they do their best, but it's not always the happiest environment.
No, it's very clinical, it's a clinic, it's very sterile, and there's not a lot of connection, it's very disconnected. So Tong Ren classes, Tong Ren community, there's a lot of helpful, hopeful stories and healings to be heard and to be experienced, And of course your desire, your intention to heal is very important, Like, do you really want to heal? Are you going to really make some changes, like, say no to this possible Western medical intervention or delay it and see if, Tong Ren works, and maybe I'll make that decision, but to really sit down and, make some really important, thoughtful choices, and not to be, go into the, I don't know, just the one-way routine, Western medicine, whatever that is, whatever your doctor's telling you.
We have some more questions. And I hope you have some more time for us.
Yes.
It says, you've talked about using Tong Ren on serious illnesses like cancer and AIDS, but you use Tong Ren also as a preventative tool or a wellness screening tool. I guess long-term maintenance is what they put in it.
Yeah, I believe that Tong Ren is very helpful for preventing things. Many times in a class, I ask people, what can I help you with today, and they tell me what issues they would like to have help with. Almost all the time, someone would say, "Oh, I didn't tell you that I had this problem with my hand, but after the Tong Ren, my hand feels much better." So often, issues that you're not that are in your field, really reverse and help. So I believe Tong Ren can prevent things from manifesting, for sure, definitely. I know it at least calms people's mind and gives people a sense of energy moving through their body.
Another question people have, one of the challenges, of course, is to get people in the door to a treatment.
Yeah.
And sometimes some people need to be convinced even in advance. So the question is, we have different people like Dr. Shaw Sprague and others who have also done interviews, and just like yours is going to be very helpful to so many people because they can go and they can find this information. Through the foundation or through yourself, I know the foundation has a booklet and different things. So what other tools and resources do you recommend to people to educate themselves in order to get people to a guinea pig session or a healing group class?
Well, check out websites. Check out tomtam.com, Tong Ren Station. Become a member of the Tong Ren community, and hang out with people that are doing Tong Ren through the conference calls that are on the telephone, through the online classes, which are just about every day, and the booklets. I guess some people out there must be doing classes, and the OCI. I'll give you the institute's website's OCIHRF.org. It's the letters Oriental Culture Institute Healing Research Foundation.org, and there's information on there, and yeah.
So they can actually get those booklets. Can they actually order them? Like if they started?
Well, they're online. You can download them. You can download them at tomtam.com. It's the whole book is there. I mean, you'll have to print it out, or you can just look at it on a PDF format and have it on your computer. So
okay.
That's one way to do it. To have it. You can download and print it out, or just have it in the PDF format and read it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's been. Oh yeah. I was going to say it's been edited. I edited the booklets. It was like 40 pages. It's now down to 35 pages.
Okay, great. So those are available, and then people, I think a download would be good as an initial stage to get people sort of in the door. And like you say, I think actually probably an easy way to do it too is people can just watch a group healing class online, and maybe not everybody in our audience knows that you can actually, there's a big schedule on tongrenstation.com.
Yeah.
And actually all over the world, and even in Europe, in different languages and things like that, they can actually find these group healing classes. And all they got to do is sit and watch and get an idea, and they can actually get a treatment as well. Is that right?
Yes. Get a treatment wherever you're at. You don't have to be in the room. It seems to work just as good or better if you're at a distance. We're all connected, so it's your intention and just tapping into, the right time when the classes are happening, and you get your healing done at the same time. When I had hernia surgery back in 2010, and I couldn't get to the classes. I really couldn't really walk for about a week. And I was like, oh my God, I really need some Tong Ren. And the classes just started online. I couldn't believe it, sitting in my living room and feeling the tingling go through my body and feeling my pain levels go down by being at my computer. Who would think, you know? Anyways, it works quite well.
That's great. And I think we have one more question. For you as the president of the foundation, it's actually a big responsibility, of course, to move Tong Ren to the whole world, and it is spreading. There are thousands and thousands of members. And as president, what would be your, say, top 3 things that you'd like to accomplish as president of the foundation? And what, say, a year from now, what would you like to see happening with Tong Ren in the world?
Well, the first thing is to have research compiled, and we're starting that right now through a Tong Ren friend in the South Shore in Scituate, Mr. Walsh. So we're gonna. That's the first thing I was starting some type of research information to validate Tong Ren, and the second thing is to get Tong Ren taught to nurses, to people who are interested in the healing profession, you know, especially more broad-minded Western medicine, integrated medicine facilities, to get Tong Ren part of the curriculum, because I think we're just about ready for that, you know, part. Of course, that means some more organization with the board and stuff, but that's the second thing, and that's starting to happen, and to do more public events to spread Tong Ren. Like we're definitely going to be at the 2015 Natural Health Expo in Marlborough again this year. That's one of the ways that we reach out to the public. In other ways, I'm interested in hearing from people to do this at their churches, to bring Tong Ren however you can to as many people as possible.
Yeah, those are great goals, and we just had last year the first International Tong Ren Convention.
Right.
That was spearheaded from Canada, actually, and then that was actually in Boston, in the Boston area, and I'm hoping we'll have more of those every year, and that'll be really great to continue to do those.
Yeah.
Things are moving, I think.
Things are moving, and you know, it's time. You know, one of the things that I learned in macrobiotics, which is very helpful in looking at this crazy world, is the magic spectacles of yin-yang theory. You know, what has a front has a back. The bigger the front, the bigger the back. Western medicine is out of whack, big time. And Tong Ren is a really balanced approach to the real almost insanity of Western medicine. So it's a little strange for most people, Western medicine oriented, but you know, we all know, we're speaking to the choir here, it works. It makes you feel better. Things really can turn around. So you know, it's time. It's time. It's almost things are coming together. I'm very hopeful. Let's put it that way. I think.
Yeah, and I think your lifestyle is a good documentation about focusing on things that build the body, build the spirit, build the mind in a positive way, as opposed to some things, you know, such as harsh medications or chemotherapies, which have their place, but in a lot of ways don't really support growth and making people healthier.
Yes, and you know, to get as many points of view as you can, and hang out with more like-minded people. What's one of my favorite expressions? This company is stronger than willpower. You know.
And we have one last question.
Yes.
Here it says, I maintain that going to the Guinea Pig class is terrifying for many people. That's true. We always have fun. I know I can always recognize a new person in our class because their eyes are bug-eyed.
Yeah.
And they look terrified and they're really scared. Plus, of course, they've just probably been to an oncologist that didn't give them very good news.
Right.
But the question here is, I maintain that going to the initial Guinea Pig class is terrifying for many people. How do you explain it, and can you put it on YouTube as a reference?
Yeah, I haven't checked out YouTube what the Tong Ren videos they have, but I know there's an awful lot of Tong Ren videos on YouTube. Testimonials, I know there's several of those. Maybe there's a few classes. This video will be on it. Tom Tam, last interview with Joe is on YouTube. But to get people to come, spread the word. Word is the best, promotion. Have a friend come with you, and don't try to explain. Say, come to this class. It's very relaxing. It really helps you, take the load off your mind. It's a little different, but be open. Skepticism's fine. I was skeptical at first. We all are.
Yeah, and I think there are there's some good resources that I found recently from Chi Healing in Canada. Also, they have video testimonials. Those are very, very good. There's some information that I found also from Tom. Believe it or not, there's a lot of videos on Tom Tam. If you search Google for Tom Tam, Tong Ren, and of course Ken Hadden, his name, and different.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you my website.
Great.
There's a couple videos on there. I have one, Tong Ren and the Science Behind Energy Healing, by Dr. What's his name? Oh, he lives in Maine now. Anyways, it's a great video. It's on my website. So my website is amazinghealings.org. One word, amazinghealings.org. And again, I have several videos on there. Tong Ren and the Science Behind Energy Healing. I have another one on there. Sorry to say, Death by Medicine, by Dr. Joe McCullough, which just explains some of the things that are happening in Western medicine. A lot of people getting sick from Western medicine. And so, yeah, amazinghealings.org and tomtam.com, definitely. There's definitely a lot of information on his site.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate your time. I know how busy you are, and I know all of these things. But I think it should be inspiring to people to understand the journey that you took and the integration of mind, body, spirit, yoga practice, nutrition, Tong Ren, and you are a success story and a survivor, and so much so that you're now spearheading the entire foundation. So,
yes,
to all of us in the Tong Ren community and to all the people that you're going to help in reducing the suffering, we can all say thank you very much. And I look forward to hopefully having another interview in a year from now and getting an update for everybody for the foundation as well as your initiatives with the hospitals, which is a massive undertaking and a great accomplishment. So,
yes,
thank you for that. And again, Mr. President,
all right,
for our time together.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you soon.
May the chi be with you.
May the chi be with you too. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye. All right. How do I shut it off? There we go.